Hey everybody, how's it? Okay, Throwback Thursday. Winger, Headed for a Heartbreak, okay? So, you know, without a doubt, during the glam rock period, we saw a lot of big hair bands. But we also saw the trajectory of musicianship change also through the later years, I believe, of, you know, that 80s sound where, you know, after the larger influences of the Yngwie, Vai, Satriani, we noticed a lot of guitar players were really being adventurous with solos and riffs and stuff like this. But in this case, this particular song for me and on Throwback Thursday is really based on what I believe was probably one of the most uniquely produced and composed, let's just call it glam ballad metal or glam ballad rock songs of that era. Not only because of his singing, but because of production, which I will be pointing out. Now, obviously, I know the song, so I'm not going to be doing as many stops. But there are quite a few things that I'm going to pull out from this that we can A-B together from, you know, engineering techniques of then to now, solo techniques, keyboard arrangement techniques, because this was one of those songs that, well, because of the time, MTV and everything like that, whether you loved him or hated him or something like that, this kind of managed its way into your soundtrack of life somehow. And even if you just hit forward on your AM/FM station or something, whatever. The one thing about this song is that I really appreciated was actually the arrangement. So that's what this is about, right? Any advertisements that run on this, my channel's not monetized. Obviously, you guys know that. Any of the ads actually go to copyright claim for the publishers and stuff. If you want to support the channel, thank you so much. You can buy me a cup of coffee. It helps what I do with the kids as well. I also have a little bit of merch. Did you like that new logo that we had on the opening there? 100% of the merch actually goes to help the kids. 100% of the proceeds on that. Link for their music is going to be down below. Spotify, I always try to support the bands and the record companies as we move forward. All right, so let's do this. Winger, Headed for a Heartbreak here on Throwback Thursday. Throwback Thursday, TBT. Yeah, Throwback Thursdays. All right. Okay, so I want to key into my first stop here, even though we're only a minute into the song. One of the things about this track that really like grabbed me when I very first heard it was the fact that this is a, you know, this is a metal band or a rock band, you know, prog rock elements in it. And the fact that that first verse was literally strictly an arpeggiation from the keyboard, you know, that you hear going into that da da do da da do do da, that's going on there while there's a pad behind it. So obviously in recording that was probably done one at a time, but in live music, you know, when they're playing live, you know, the capabilities are there with a musician, keyboard player that can obviously do the best, do that kind of stuff easily. Something else I want to bring out really quick is the engineering techniques have completely changed. Obviously, have you noticed that the snare is big and fat and center? You know, that was the thing about that 80s sound, the 80s glam rock, big hair band kind of days. Boy, that snare took center stage like it was nobody's business in the engineering world. Fat and center, so much so that at times I kind of missed, at least in this track, you know, where's the hi-hat? I'm looking for that kind of thing. But in the time, you know, the hats didn't necessarily get as much love through the 80s, you know, as we like to hear now. Not saying that they didn't do it on other tracks, just on this one. And then of course his voice, you know, Kip Winger. You know, I was just like, oh God, if I had a voice like that, all the girls I would get, you know. But hey, you know, I didn't have a voice, so I had I had to hang my hat on just being the clown that I was. But nonetheless, what an amazing voice, and the harmonies that he does in his chorus. You know, those are all natural. There was no, what do you call the things now? You can manipulate vocals with, you know, outboard gear or modules and stuff to hit harmonies and so on and so forth. That was all him going on there. So anyhow, let's go. So another really super cool thing was the double hook in the hook. So the hook is headed for a, forget it, what he's singing, but there's an instrumental hook behind it. Dun, 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 dun. You know, the hook that comes in behind that's instrumental. So there's a double hook that pulls you in there. Once again, I go back into that arpeggiated thing that the keyboard is doing, especially during the solo here. Now, there's the arpeggiation that's going on with a pad, but there is a muted guitar that does this really super mellow dun, 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 on this side here. So you've got these things that are set in a rhythm that are really just carrying you through these phrases. And then something about Reb Beach, and that's, I believe, is how you say his last name. What I loved not only about this solo, but one at the end, because I'm not going to stop for that end solo because we got to rinse through that whole end solo. I want you to listen as we go through to the end solo, how much space there is between his phrasing. So this isn't a solo that starts at the beginning, goes all the way to the end, and just kills from top to bottom. There's breathing in it. And the production of this whole track is there's a lot of breathing in there. And that also lends itself to the passion of what this is as a, you know, long hair glam rock ballad. You know, there's a lot of powerful just breathing space happening there. But behind it are those cool little arpeggiations that are happening with the keyboard and also the muted guitar. And also, you know, Kip Winger is a bass player too. You know, there's that one little section there in the front half of this little partial solo there where he does an incredible turnaround in his phrase right there. It's super, super cool. So, and also, I mean, the one last thing before I finish, I'm going to try to finish the song off without saying anything else, is if you listen, what else is core about this is that boom, boom, ting, boom, boom, boom. You know, the bass and the kick locking in just for that really seemingly so obviously simple rhythmical pattern, but it's boom, boom. You know, it's at that, it feels like it's at the rate of a heartbeat, and it's just, the whole thing just locks in absolutely beautiful. I mean, I goober over this because as a piece of work, composition, production, arrangement, musicianship, skill, and stuff like that, ballads are, you can lose a ballad really quick if you do too much, and everything from his voice all the way down to the drumming to the bass playing, and I don't mean down to, but, you know, tonally. That's to me where this track is an important part of my soundtrack of life, because I ended up learning this guitar solo, both of them, that year, just not because of anything else, that it was so passionate and so pure. So I'm going to attempt to not say anything else now. Let's go ahead and rinse through the rest of this track, and I want you to keep an ear on the solo at the end and how much space there is going on there. So here we go. Believe it or not, that was probably my most favorite part of the solo, was that little ending phrase that he did right there. To me was just absolute, that da 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 da. Something else I want to bring up before I'm done with this. In the sequence or the arpeggiation, you hear the keyboard player do da 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 da. That is repeated exactly like that through the whole song. That sequence, even at the beginning and stuff, with a different note phrasing. But the beauty of it is as the bass is changing notes, that sequence does not shift out of its pattern tonally. So what that is actually giving, at least how it affected me, is that by having that sequence playing there, it's setting what I would call a pedaled tone, except in an arpeggiation. So the arpeggiation has a tonal element to it that is through the song. No matter what chord changes are happening, that arpeggiation holds its own. And to me, that is like, you've heard me say this before, that's like, excuse me, the zip line of the journey, that you can hang on to that all the way through and through. And then, of course, the band with the power of their arrangements and musicianships and, you know, Kip's vocals and everything like that. You know, I'm, you know, forgive me if you're a big Winger fan, I wasn't down for their other tracks, you know, that Only 17 thingy I think he had and stuff. It just wasn't the thing. But this song forever will be a part of my soundtrack of life for all the reasons I just mentioned. Composition, arrangement, musicianship skill, melody, vocal capabilities. This for me is something I'll always kind of cycle back to. And I still get chicken skin. What is this, right? When I do this, it's a universal sign for chicken skin. Anyhow, thanks for hanging out for me on this Throws Back Thursday Winger, Headed for a Heartbreak. And more to come. I've got one more drop I'm going to do later on today. And thanks for hanging out once again. The links for their music will be down below. The link for the AKG 240 is if you see fit. That's going to be down there too. The link for the cup of coffee will be down there. And the links for my other social media profiles are down there too if you want to drop, you know, suggestions there as well. So thanks for hanging out. and we're gonna see you a little later. I'm going, but I ain't headed for a heartbreak. All right.